leads one to believe that we are fighting this. We're fighting an ever-evolving element of terror. And if one subscribes, as I am beginning to subscribe to the fact that there's this oligarchy that exists, a shadow government behind the current government.
No question.
They're making some choices here, and again, we could point to that as being the cause for this continuity of agenda that we're witnessing between the Bush and Obama administrations, the collusion between the two, the collusion among the surviving leaders, and the fact that by having this evolving enemy, they've got the ability to maintain and even increase domestic tyranny in the form of TSA type of activities that very humiliating TSA activity by the TSA on air passengers and elsewhere. So I think taking a few steps back, looking at the larger picture here, number one, I can understand every caller's concern and questions, and I think they're rightfully placed. But I think that if we look at the globalist agenda, which I do believe is at play here, perhaps that's where we're going to find our answers. And maybe not all of them, but at least some of the important ones.
Let's go to Lake Balboa in California, and it's James' turn. Hi, James.
Yeah, hey, George. We're just coasting here in the San Fernando Valley. Me and my buddies listen to Coast every night.
Thank you.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you and your guest a question. There hasn't been any videos of Osama bin Laden for years that have been authenticated, and I've heard things about plastic surgery and stuff. How do you and your guest feel about no video evidence? Do you think he's just been in deep hiding and he hasn't wanted to give away his position?
Well, you know what, with James, let me tell you something, and here's my stand. With the kind of technology we have today and the kind of information and the fact that there was $50 million put on bin Laden's head, I just find it strangely bizarre that we haven't been able to either get to him or publicize any more pictures or video. It's just weird. Al-Zawahiri, his right-hand man, has been the one who's been the chief spokesperson over the last couple of years. The whole thing is bizarre. It's possible, Douglas, that maybe they've had him under surveillance for 7-8 years. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I'm with you in the fact that here's a guy living in a very conspicuous location in Abbottabad, Pakistan, where they ostensibly carried out the operation.
In a mansion.
Yes, indeed, and one that would stick out. I mean, we're talking about an upscale area, but this particular mansion would stick out anywhere. And so I think you're correct in saying that, that there's something not right with this, that all of a sudden, hey, we just found this place. I mean, we've got satellites dedicated to going over every square inch of this earth, and really for the government to say that we just discovered this or made this discovery since August, even giving them that, I think is a stretch. So there's got to be a backstory that we're not privy to here. And again, this is not to take away anything from those who executed this operation, but I think it's at the beginning.
Whenever they did it, right?
Whenever they did it, that's correct. But I think too the fact that this happened in Pakistan is important to really drive home because we're not. The relationships, even when Musharraf was in place with Pakistan, very tenuous at best. We've already basically set the Middle East on fire. Now, what are we going to do? Are we going to open up a situation with Pakistan? I don't know, but I truly believe that if, in fact, Osama was alive, that we had enough knowledge, or that we had knowledge of where he was, and I'm not sure who made the decision or why they made it at this time to pull the trigger. If in fact they did it as they said they did it.
Well, and also, the president said tonight that we've known since August that he was there. It took 9 months to put together the special ops plan to go get him? I think not.
No. Our men and women in uniform and our leaders are too good for that. They could get something together in a much quicker fashion, even using the utmost of caution and concern. And the fact that
I'll tell you what they did first. I mean, I've been in the Navy 9 years. I'll tell you what they did first. Making the assumption that they've had it under surveillance and they knew for sure he was in this house. They didn't want to blow it up. The reason why is they want his body. They can't blow him up. No one will believe that he's dead. So they need to get his body, number one. Number two, the first thing they did is they put long sight snipers all around the place, and they all fired at about the same time at anybody outside. They knew it didn't matter what was going on inside because he wasn't going to get out. The big question, too, Doug, isn't it possible? The guy they say he was shot in the head. Isn't it possible he took his own life? That was the report a long time ago, that he would never be captured alive.
Exactly. One of the intelligence memos that I received earlier this evening was a close-range shot to the head, suggesting either a very close firefight, or he took his own life, or a third possibility, standing orders by
his bodyguard.
His bodyguards, right, to take him out.
Next up, we go to Bill, Charlotte, North Carolina. You're up with us on Coast to Coast. Hey, Bill, go ahead.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Good, great. Bill. Thank you.
Great program. A historical night.
It is.
A very historical night. I just wanted to point out that given Osama bin Laden's medical history, which they talked about for the last 10 years with his kidney problems.
Yeah.
Yes. Where he was found tonight, or during this weekend, since the operation was given the go on Friday, he was just apparently very close to a hospital. Where better place to build your fort, compound, right down the street from a hospital? I mean,
I don't think he built it, Bill. I think it was donated to him.
Well, you see, that was the thing that I've been understanding, is that these two brothers who were the couriers who were killed had no outward means of supporting anything, and yet suddenly they build this huge compound. And everyone knows that Osama bin Laden, while in America he would be maybe just a minor millionaire, in Pakistan he obviously had money that was well beyond the means of most Pakistanis. And in an urban area that was built up, I mean, he had no internet access, he had no phone access, he only communicated through these two couriers who our intelligence agencies followed and tracked him down through these people. And the other thing I want to point out is that the fact that two American helicopters could fly into Pakistan and carry out this operation either means the Pakistani Air Force Air Defense is very bad, or they were complicit in this in some way or form.
Well, I'm sure they were in some way or form, even though there were probably members of the Pakistani intelligence that could have been in a position to tip off bin Laden, because I think they were protecting him as well. That region is very ominous, Doug Hagman.
Yes, indeed, and something your caller said about his medical issues. There was a long-buried, or is a long-buried, CBS Evening News report, and this goes back to 2001. This was, I think, by one of the foreign correspondents by the name of Peterson for CBS News. Dan Rather talked about this. There were two hospital staff witnesses who said that they saw bin Laden escorted into a military hospital in somewhere in Pakistan on the evening of September 10th, 2001, where he was there to receive kidney dialysis. And then there were subsequent reports to that of potential sightings of dialysis treatment. So that's interesting. The second thing, this mansion, this compound where he was found, I have seen but not been able to verify that it was constructed in 2005. If not constructed in 2005, then occupied by this contingency, including bin Laden, in 2005. So that's rather interesting as well. And if we know that much, then we certainly know a lot more.
Yeah, that's so true. Let's go to Tomball, Texas. It's Shelley's turn. Hey, Shelley, go ahead.
Hi, George. Hi, Doug.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi.
Okay, first off, I do have a question, but I do have to comment on, in spite of the political part of different presidents, George Bush still, I feel like, was a good American, and he did have America's best interest in his heart. He never really put up anything different other than, you could see it when he did his speeches, and you could still see that he still had the American people in his best interest. With that being said, I do have a question on when America takes, or any kind of situation where the body is in possession of America, what do they do with the body? I mean, you don't necessarily want it on our soil. You don't really want to give it back so it becomes, he's a martyr. Is it burned? Is it buried? And who decides all that?
I don't think they're going to burn it. They'll probably put him in the Smithsonian. Who knows? What do you think, Doug?
Well, this was asked. I mean, it was a legitimate question. It was asked.
We just got about 30 seconds left.
According to a White House official, and to take it for what it's worth, they take the disposition of the body very seriously, and therefore it will be handled in an appropriate manner today by a White House official.
But right now, it's like a crime scene. I don't think they're going to just willingly give the body up for a while.
I hope not.
No, I'm sure they won't. Douglas, thanks for staying with us that extra hour. Up next, we're going to be talking about the other side. And here's our last emerging artist, Ilan Vital, the song Mothman from Hinckley.